All right, everybody, welcome to another fantastic episode of Diz Debate. We are so happy to have you, and we've got three new faces. We're so excited. It's going to be so good. Today we have a great topic for you, but before we get into that, this is Diz Debate. This is a fan-made podcast about Disney parks, about Disney, about everything. It's made by fans for fans. We have all sorts of people on all the time. We have regulars, we have newcomers every episode. And we're just happy to be here. We're happy to have everyone with us. In fact, let's get to know some of these new people. Dean, how are you doing today? Of course, it's good to see you as always.
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. Just done a 6-day work week,
Whew.
so it's nice to get the day off. But yeah.
Good. Well, it's good to have you. Glad you get a little Sunday off. George, how are you doing today? It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys finally in person. It's like celebrities been listening to all your shows and yeah, it's been good. But no, I'm good and yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. Can we find you anywhere on social media? Is there anything we should be following?
Yes, on Instagram at theme park, well, it's theme underscore park underscore nerd 84, just to give away my age, year of birth, and yeah, theme park nerd 84.
Awesome. Thanks.
Basically do all primarily Universal, Disney, all theme parks, but mostly Universal. It's like a great honor to all theme parks around the world, but mostly
But
Disney and
mostly,
Universal.
it's a tribute to all theme parks.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic. Arthur, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm so good. How are you guys doing?
We're happy to be here. I think we're all ready to
Good.
rock and roll. Um,
We are.
Excellent. Where can we find you on social media, Arthur?
If you find my Instagram, it's Arthur Lopez. It's Arthur Lopez with S.
Perfect. Well, that's fantastic. We're excited to hear from you today. Rachel, how are you doing this fine day?
Hi, I'm Rachel, and you can find me on social media on TikTok under Disney Dolly. So it's all one word, but capital D for Disney and capital D for Dolly.
And I'm Disneyland Man's Instapics. I'm Jackson. I just run a little photography account for the Disney parks. Nothing fancy, but I'm here and I'm happy. So, before we dive into today's episode, we wanted to kind of take a minute and look at some current events happening in the Disney community. Mostly parks, but I forgot to mention as well, obviously, Toy Story 5 is the big thing on everyone's mind. The new Taylor Swift song, which I enjoyed. Um, so we can kind of start with that. What is everyone's thoughts? I've seen clips of it already. What does everyone else think?
I'm very excited. I was just telling Dean offline that we're about to take a Disney cruise on the Dream. And I'm hoping, because I know a lot of cruises, when new stuff comes out, they will play it on the cruise. So I'm hoping the two collide where we can watch it, Toy Story 5, with Miss Taylor on the cruise. That would be amazing. But yeah, a boy can dream. Doo-doo-ch.
Man, that does sound so cool. Oh, I'm so jealous. I really hope that happens for you now.
I think there's been a few too many leaks
Hmm.
about possible things that are happening with the movie, which I think is a shame. Like the same as a lot of trailers these days, they kind of spoil half the movie before we've even seen it.
Yeah.
But it's a
I'm the kind of
shame.
I'm the kind of person that I try to avoid seeing stuff like, when you open your Facebook or Instagram, I try like to skip those things. Even the trailer, sometimes I just see like, sometimes Disney they release like a teaser, like a 25-second, 30-second, just see how the film looks like. For me, that's more than enough. And I just
Yeah.
don't go and see trailers or nothing like that. Especially Toy Story, which I love it. And the song is cool though, the Taylor Swift song. I like it. I like it a lot.
I think the song may be a bit more impactful when we know whereabouts it comes in the movie and
Yeah,
Right.
what else is happening.
yeah,
It's not as it hasn't hit me like when Somebody Loved Me. I was expecting something a bit more like that,
mm,
but we don't know what's happening in that scene in the film yet. But
It do-
yeah,
it does, yeah, it does give those vibes where hopefully it does seem like maybe it comes at like a emotional point in the movie or something, or yeah.
And another piece of news that we saw was we got a couple more leaks into or views into the new Monsters Inc. land coming to Hollywood Studios. So we know that there's going to be what's the name of the restaurants? Harry something or others. Yeah,
Housing.
that one. So we know that that's going to be in there. That's going to be a restaurant, which we saw in the concept art, but I'm glad to hear they actually announced it. And then they also announced Human Day, which I'm
That's right.
very interested to see how that works. But I thought that was a beautiful way to tie the worlds together. That was very smart. So I don't know. Does anyone have any predictions for that land or things they're hoping for? We've done an episode on this, but we could just briefly touch on this while we're here.
I'm very excited for the land. I'm a big fan of monsters. I am a big fan of Muppets,
Mm.
but I think that space was in dire need of an update. I like what they did with Muppets instead. But that looks. I agree, Jackson. That I think that's a very clever way of having a reason to have humans in there or us in there in their space is having this human day. Um, and I can't I didn't see that when you guys mentioned that, but I have the feeling I'm wondering if they're going to bring in the or something like it. What's his face? The laugh floor that's at Magic Kingdom, and bring that over.
I hope so.
It just seems like something that should be over there.
Or else we're going to end up with another Star Tours situation where you've got Star Tours in one area of the park and then Galaxy's Edge in the other, right? And you're like, what do we do?
In a whole nother part.
Right, yeah.
I think they've got a real opportunity with land. They can put like monsters all over the land in the windows and things. I kind of envision it a bit like the Men in Black ride at Universal, like just populate the land with monsters, audio animatronic monsters, go the whole hog with that. I mean, I think they did a stellar job with the Rock and Roller Coaster with the Muppet Free theme, and I wasn't expecting it to be half as good as the way it's turned out. So I'm hoping that they just
Agreed.
go out.
It does definitely has that potential to put throughout the land, and it's a good size area that's only expanding, where they could put all kinds of fun Easter eggs, and it seems like maybe room for more, like the laugh floor or other kind of stores that tie into the Monsters universe, which would be very cool.
Well, we've got the pizza. Is it no? What's the not pizza
That,
Rizzo. Rizzo's going to Harry Hanson's, but the other they've got a pizza restaurant, haven't they?
I gotta say, there's another space that they could have some other.
They haven't announced whether
No,
it's for or elaborate meet and greet or something.
I wonder, or another, or some quick service that's themed to something in Monster, or unless. Well, I don't know. I just spitballing now. Unless they make it like a quick service that looks like the cafeteria at where they work
Oh, sure. That'd be cool.
at the Monsters Inc. Something.
Yeah. I agree. I think the queue for the coaster is one area that I'm really excited to see. I'm really excited to see what they get squished in there because coasters, I just feel like sometimes the I don't know. I just want that queue to be good because if it's going to be through like the Monsters Inc. building, I just think they have really cool opportunities to expand the universe there. Um, but yeah, lots of things, great things to come out of that land. I'm really excited to see what they do. Obviously, we've talked about this before, but if they, with all this hype, they only bring greater expectations from their fans. And so I'm really hoping those are met with this brand new land and a brand new coaster. Like, I agree with Rachel, that coaster is just, it's got to be so good. It's just got to be. Because the concept's just it's too easy. Like, it writes itself. But one more piece of news I would like to share, and then we will go into our episode. The Pixar Play Pavilion, or no, not the Pixar, the Play Pavilion in Epcot, that is the Old Wonders of Life. If you remember, that was going to be the Play Pavilion, and then it just got completely abandoned due to COVID and other things. That had a flag outside in the Epcot area, and where all the pavilions have a flag, and it is no longer up. And so that sparks many questions for me as to what they're going to do with that building. Is its life finally over? I think it's very, very close to being over. But I just want to throw that in there for my Wonders of Life fans, those still clinging on to any nostalgia for that
to
old pavilion.
to the To the Body Wars fan,
Yeah,
anybody Body
that's
Wars?
for my
Huh?
Cranium Command people out
Uh,
there. That's for you guys. Oh man, not the Making of Me people. That's good that went away. But everything else. Um, but anyway, that's our little news
that's
segment
exciting.
for today, and I'm glad we got a chat. But now we're going to get into the meat of this episode. We are going to talk about cast member stories. And we're really excited to have all these wonderful new people with us because they are cast members, or they were at some point. And we are excited to hear from them and their stories, all the good and the bad and everything else. Just as a preface, we know that Disney is a wonderful, magical, beautiful place, but we also know that it's a business and people make mistakes and businesses are run poorly and things happen. And so the theme parks are wonderful, and sometimes working for them is great and sometimes it isn't. So as a little, take it with a grain of salt. Keep that in mind as you listen, people, and remember that things do happen, and we always want people who work at Disney and make that magic to be treated right and fairly and respectfully because they make it such a wonderful, magical place to be. And so, if just remember that, and let's hope that things always continue to improve for them. With that being said, we're going to start with Rachel, and she's going to tell us her story about how she got hired and when she knew and how it was and all that stuff. So I'm going to leave it to her, and I'm going to shut up now. Rachel, you go for it.
So I was a cast member back in 2001, 2002. And in the UK Pavilion in Epcot, that's where I used to work. And you could either choose either merchandise, so working in all of the stores and playing with the guests, or you could choose food and beverage. But I choose merchandise. So I had to have about 4 telephone interviews, and I also had to go down to London for an interview in person. I had a customer service, customer facing background, which I think probably helped me. But I think there was about 15,000 applicants for 90 positions. So I had the absolute best time of my whole entire life. Made friends for life. But back to the recruitment. So when we got recruited, got a few months before I knew that I was obviously travelling out there. And so with merchandise, we used to work a 40-hour week. So I used to do different shift patterns, and also what you could do is work 40 hours a week split between different amount of days. But if we did 4 days a week with 10-hour shifts, we could back to back our days off, so 4 on, 6 off, 4 on, at which point we were like road trip. So one of the guys in our in the UK team, cast members, he bought a car out there, so we used to go down to the Keys, all over Florida, literally all over the place. Miami, Clearwater, St. Petersburg, Kennedy Space Center, go watch the launches. But yeah, it was absolutely insane. So working in the UK Pavilion, wow, you work and play with guests from all around the world. You get quite in-depth training, and the training that we had, there's a Disney university close to Magic Kingdom, so everybody who starts working for Disney will do something called Disney Traditions. So Disney Traditions tells you the background, the history. If a guest asks you a little bit of an awkward question like, oh, how many Mickey Mouse are there, they tell you what to respond and how to respond. So it would be with a little bit of pixie, just anything is possible, and things like that. So it was really good. But also as a cast member, you could go and visit any talk that you wanted to at the Disney University to grow your skill set. shall we say? But also working in merchandise or merchantainment, as they call it. When you very first start, after you've been to Disney University for your training for Disney traditions, you get your name badge, and on your name badge there's a red ribbon underneath when you very first start, and on the name badge it says "Earning My Ears" in a red ribbon. So if you go out to Walt Disney World and you see any cast member that are earning their ears, you know that they're pretty new to role, and you obviously keep that on until you're comfortable and confident. But in that role in merchandise or merchantainment, we also got the opportunity to give talks for events such as the hospitality industry, which was amazing. We became, if you wanted to, a Disney trainer. There's so many things within one role, which was amazing. But all the cast members who work at Epcot all live together. Off-site, well, it is classed as on Disney property, but it's off-site from the park, and with 11 different countries from around the world at Epcot. My very first apartment when I got there, we had an 8-person apartment with 8 different nationalities. So that was really fun and interesting, especially when it came to cooking. We all used to take it in turns to cook our traditional national dish for each other. So that was a lot of fun. So yeah, absolutely had totally the best time. And then on your days off, you can also work from work. You can play in the parks, and you get something called a main gate pass when you're a cast member, and you can go and play in any of the parks as much or as many times as you want. And then you also could sign your friends and family into the parks as well, which was amazing. So yes. We used to work different shift patterns, so we could be there for rope drop when the park first opened. We could be on park close, with illuminations, reflections, versus with the fireworks show at the time. So we used to navigate, and with your Disney Point, as they taught us, we used to kind of usher the crowds in certain directions. So, as I said, in terms of variety, what you could do on a daily basis, it was absolutely magical and amazing. And for some people who were thinking of doing it that may be not that confident, absolutely do it, because it will bring you out of your shell. You're going to make friends for life. And to experience working for Disney is just truly magical and next level. So if anybody has any reservations, yes, you may get a little bit homesick at times, but now with today's modern technology, which we didn't have back when I did it in 2001, 2002, with FaceTiming and all the technology that we've got, the pros far outweigh the cons.
Wow. What a strong review for working for Disney.
Oof.
That was quite amazing. I had no idea that their shifts worked like that. The 4 on, 6 off.
I can remember when I started just after Rachel, it was just after 9/11 and things. So they were kind of short on the cast. So we were doing like 6-day weeks for my first couple of months at least, because they needed everybody on. So it's like long shifts, and it can be hard work. Not all the guests are adorable. It's their holiday, and what they're always right. But yeah, no, it's you got to do it if you got the chance. Definitely do it. One thing I would interject now is choose wisely what area. If you're going to work at Epcot, choose wisely the area you work in, because if you work in food and bev, you get your tips. Today we're going away for weekends, getting off here, there, and everywhere. And those of us in merch, we kind of couldn't afford it. We were racking up credit card bills because we were. So yeah, so I think food and bev had it a bit better than us, didn't they? They were living it up a bit more.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, Fantastic. Well, I want to circle back on everyone's stories, and hear like favorite memories and like, cool guests they met or whatever, like just things like that. But I want to get through everyone's story first. So I wanted to move to Arthur and sort of hear
Yeah.
his story, and yeah, I'll let him take it now.
Do you have time? 'Cause-
Oh, we got time, bro.
No, just to say, like, just Rachel, just listen to you like talking about it, just brought me so many memories, like so many. I say the same thing to people. I think it was the best experience of my life, and I've traveled the world. I live in different country. I'm from Brazil originally. I've been living in Ireland for the past 10 years, and that was nothing like it. Well, like I've never experienced anything like it. And okay, let me just go from the start. So I had a friend who I was living in Brazil back then. That was like 15, 16 years ago. And she worked for Disney. I didn't know there was such a thing of working for Disney. There was because they have different programs, and the one that I did was the ICP, that goes for International College Program, and you have to be in college, and you have to apply through your university, and then you go on the winter time in America, but the summertime in Brazil. And then I was in college, I was doing advertising and marketing, and then my friend was like, "Oh yeah, just apply for merchandise. You can just, learn how to do promotion and all the kind of stuff," which is, one of the fields in advertising. I was like, "No, I'm gonna go because I wanna go work for Disney. It doesn't matter what I'm gonna do there." So yeah, but basically, it was a long process. I think I wasn't like there was different interviews throughout the whole year. I think I spent 9 months doing interviews, and I think there was probably 3 or 4 interviews until we got to the point, to the final result. And I don't know if you guys know that, but there was this lady called Regina something, and everybody would be afraid of this lady because she was one of the Disney recruiters who go around the world recruiting people, and everybody was, "Oh my God, Regina is coming," because you would have interviews with like the Brazilian team local first, and then the recruiters from Disney they would come in the end. And but anyway, I've been to Disney before working there, and I just loved it. But I wanted to, and I knew by choosing merchandise, I had a chance to work in the parks or in the hotels. But I was so specific. I wanted to work in Magic Kingdom in Main Street because I could see the parades and the fireworks every day. But there's no way to choose that. But during the interview, one of the interviewers were like, "Oh, Arthur, how would you handle work like in a busy place? How would you handle it?" And I just kind of like dropped like Magic Kingdom Main Street on my answer. I was like, "Oh, like Magic Kingdom is really busy during Christmas time, and people all go there. Main Street is really busy, because Magic Kingdom is the biggest park. People go there, and Main Street is really busy." So I kept repeating Main Street and Magic Kingdom. So anyway, got the result. I went to like, but you just know the place you're gonna work when you get to Orlando. You don't know before, at least to my program, we just knew like after the training, as Rachel mentioned, the Disney University. We went out to Magic Kingdom, and then I used to live in Vista Way. There was Commons, it was all the Epcot people.
Yeah.
This- and then I don't think Vista Way exists anymore. I'm not sure, but like, yeah, there was all like it was really mixed as well. There's love nationalities, not as commons, because there was all the Epcot people there. So we had a whole week training at this university. We got our name tags from Mickey, and then everything's like I remember this final training. We all had this in ears because we had like a tour guide showing us the backstage of Disney. And then all of a sudden, and then she was talking, we could hear her here because the park was open. All of a sudden, she opens this door, and then we are in Main Street looking at the castle, and I just could not believe it. That I went to Disney before, but it was just different, like working there. And but I didn't know by then what park I was going to work. And then in the end of the Disney University, the tradition program, I saw my name there, and then they usually give you a paper, a sheet with your name, your location. There was a photo of how your uniform should look like, and there was like Arthur Magic Kingdom Main Street, and I just could not, I just like could not believe it because I think I said so many times to the interviewer that I worked in the Emporium store, like the first, when you go to Disney, the main street is the first store on the left. And it was between Emporium and the strollers shop, which is underneath the station. And it was incredible. I think, yeah, like before going, I thought it was just, I don't think you have, at least me, I didn't have any idea that would be bigger than just having a job at Disney. I think it's bigger. And as much as we explain, I think it's hard for people to understand sometimes if you don't work there, because it's just so, I don't know, like you go from like seeing the parades every day to go see stuff that you've never seen in the backstage. You get a bit shocked sometimes. And then, but I think like the perks of like, having like discounts at Disney and going to the parks whenever you want, wherever you want, like your days off, you just go to a park because why wouldn't you? And then, and back then there was no like social media back then. And I think, seeing now, I think was, I don't want to go too deep with this topic, but I feel like back then we could be more immersed on the experience. We weren't like too worried of like, oh, let's post this and let's check this. People were now on their phone checking things or doing vlogs or doing posts, anything. So I think it was so immersive because all you need to do was just live. And you can't live in a bubble when you are at Disney World because like everything's provided like for you. Like the buses, the transportation is provided. Like your accommodation is there. Like you don't kind of leave that world. But it was incredible.
That was awesome. That was super cool.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, like we're gonna go to that, but like yeah, like in a nutshell, that was my experience there.
Wow.
Arthur, how long was your contract for?
My contract was almost 6 months.
Nice.
Yeah, because it was like the summer in Brazil, it's a bit longer because we have Carnival in there, which is in February. So everything, we say that all the country starts to work properly after Carnival, which is in March. So yeah, it's a saying there. So I went in November, beginning of November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, end of March, April, almost 6 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But
Well,
it was the
that's
same. It was the same as Rachel. I just did not want to leave. You just go like you just go thinking that you're going to just work for Disney, but you just meet loads of people. Like seeing the parade for the last time, or seeing that like I used to see those fireworks every night because my shift they sometimes start at 5 or 7:30 p.m. and would finish at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. because the park they have like the magical hours, and then sometimes the Magic Kingdom would close really really late but early in the morning. So I had those shifts sometimes, and you get to see the closing of the park, the fireworks, but then on your last day you just cry as if you just seen for the first time. Yeah, I went back to Disney 10 years after my program, and I went. The last time was January this year, and when I hear like there was a show in a castle like in the morning, the first thing, and then I think it's called Dream Within a Dream. I don't know, but then you just hear that voice going like, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Dream Within a Dream," and that's me like bawling, crying because I just like when people look at me like. But it's just like it brings so many memories, even though we all know they're just one Mickey. Like when you see it, you just I don't know, just there's something that happens inside you that you just can I don't know, just it was like a glory days, like glory days, living there. Yeah.
Arthur, just saying that about hearing the music. When we worked at the UK Pavilion, they had Reflections of Earth, and every time that was on, that was when you were trying to cash up your floats and close down, count up everything. But I still love listening to it today.
Yeah.
But it just brings back all the memories. Like you had like 20 minutes to cash up and get out, get on the bus to go back to the Commons.
Yeah.
Just crazy
And
things like that.
and the tasks as well. They were really because I thought like before going there, I just thought that would be like working behind a counter, just scanning merch and all the kind of stuff, and it's not really like that, which is great at the same time. So we were like doing stuff behind the scenes, and we did a lot of like window merchandise, that kind of like design windows. That was
Displays.
incredible. Like, yeah. And there was a time that we had to wear the Mickey gloves and just wave to people on the street for like half an hour, 40 minutes. And that was great because you could take a break from the counter, you interact with the guests, trade pins, taking photos. I don't know. It was just, I would love it. Like, it just, every day it was the same park, but it was so different because of the people. I would say because of the guys. And just, I'm just like Rachel. I would love to interact with people and just chatting with them and ask when they're from. Because, you know, we just work there, we see the parks and parades every day, but some people are just going there for the first time. So it's just incredible to see that. I think, like, for my whole time at Disney, no joke, I think there was three songs playing back in my mind, like when I was going to sleep and I was waking up. It was like the kind of like ding 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 at the edges of the park, because it's right there in Magic Kingdom and the Main Street. The kind of like piano-y, kind of playground, kids music. Celebrate a Dream Come True parade. Celebrate a dream come true. It was one of the most biggest parades. And Wishes. There was a fireworks in the castle because now it's happily ever after. Wishes were like starlight, star bright. Like, I would go to bed and like wake up with those songs in my mind. But yeah, and it's funny because I feel that like music to me brings me back like memories. If I listen to something, I was like, oh, I was living that place in that time, or like I went on that trip on that year. And then I think with Disney is the same thing. Like, those songs, like sometimes I'm just like watching YouTube, like Dreams Come True parade. I'm just like, I was there, like, and it just makes me feel emotional. I don't know, brings me to like a cozy place. I'm feeling down or something. I just put some parade or Wishes on YouTube. Just like it gives me this joy that I just like, oh, I can't go on. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Man, these are touching. These are wonderful stories. This is like my heart is all warm hearing you guys talk about this. I'm so pleased that you guys had such a wonderful time. I Yeah, this is very good. George, I'll let you do your story. I'll just let you take it away. I won't say anything else.
When I was born, no. So my story is interesting because I actually have two different stories. Because I worked for Walt Disney World for a little over a year, left because I thought I wanted to go into teaching, did teaching, realized that was not for me, went back to Disney World. Um, and my first time around, I did security. And my second time around, I wanted to do security, but it's really hard to get into. But I got into food and beverage. So it's two different perspectives. Both have their own ups and downs and cool stuff. Um, Kind of both started similar with security. I actually found it through LinkedIn. Um, they had Walt Disney World does have a job postings on LinkedIn. So for anyone listening who really wants to, um, and once you connect to it, it goes straight to the Disney Jobs site. But yeah, so I applied via there, um, and I got an email saying that they were looking at me and they wanted a phone interview. Did the phone interview. I think I did two phone interviews, and then they were like, "You're hired." And between there and training, it was actually pretty quick when I did security because I think I applied in October, November, and training was in January, and I was started. So it was a pretty quick process. Um, yeah, and it was fun because I grew up going to Disney World. Disney World was my second home. I grew up in South Florida, West Palm Beach, for anyone who knows, about an hour north of Miami. Um, and so we would go to Disney World a few times a month. My mom often boasts that she made me, which is true. She made me the Disney adult that I am. So I grew up going to Disney World, staying on property. We always stayed on the All Stars. So I always wanted to work there. I remember in middle school, we did a career day and I dressed up like an Imagineer. Um, I always wanted to I had like a name tag that they sold on the property at the time. You could go and get your name etched on it. And um, yeah, so working for Disney is something I always wanted to do. So this was basically a dream come true. Um, the training was a few weeks. It was very cool because you got your badge, and your badge was yours, actually, believe it or not. On the back of it, all security badges, they have a number that's assigned to you, and you alone. So it's your badge. Um, and it matches the one on your ID. But yeah, so it was very cool. And like I mentioned before, you can hop around the different entrances to get like a really cool experience working at Disney Springs and Epcot and TTC and Magic Kingdom. And I got all kinds of stories because every park were on the same frequency on things when we would talk to each other. Um, but we could hear, especially at TTC, we could hear Magic Kingdom. So anytime there was an emergency or they were just chit chatting, somebody was lost, some things going on, drama, we heard about it, we could hear it. So it's like even being a part of it or listening to it, it's like um, it was just fun. It was just amazing. I was once asked if working there, and I'm sure you guys can add to this, if working there ruins the magic at all. And to me, it didn't. To me, it added to the magic. Even if you get to see how the sauce is made, it's still to be a part of it. Even when you're in it, you know what it is, but it's still that much more amazing. And I have a really cool story when we get to it later about memories of being able to walk through Magic Kingdom at 2 in the morning because my shift was over and my manager asked, I had an hour left. And my manager asked, you can go now if you want, because they would let people, I don't know if you guys called it ER, to leave early. Um, and I was like, no, I want to stay. So he's like, yeah, go ahead, walk around the park. So he gave me a vest and I walked around the park. Uh,
That's
this is
cool.
some cool slash creepy memories. Um, yeah, so that was my security experience, and then for food and beverage, I hopped around at different resorts. It's kind of the same thing to pick up shifts. You can, as long as you were food and beverage, quick service, which is what I was, checked off, you can kind of pick up anywhere. And Arthur, I don't know if you have experienced this since you picked up other places, but a fun part to me was being able to go to the different costume
I
places
I was
and
just
and
about to
wear
say,
different costumes. It was just
yeah,
fun because it's like you're getting a whole new job and
yeah, yeah.
and and playing a new role.
I used to
Um,
love to go to those costumes warehouses.
they were so fun to walk through.
So fun to walk
Uh,
around. Yeah.
so yeah, that's my beginning.
So when you take a different shift at a different place and you get a new costume, is there just like there's just a closet of them and you just pick your size and just put your tag on and head out, or how does it work? I don't know.
Well, it was each area, like Magic Kingdom had its own costuming center.
Hmm.
Epcot each park had its own. The resorts, depending on how big they were, sometimes a couple would share one. The big resorts had their own also. And you would walk in there. I mean, they organized it by section or land.
It's
And
like a supermarket with aisles.
Huh.
yeah, massive aisles.
Every aisle is a store, basically. So I
And
had Emporium, there's a
yeah.
Hawaii for Emporium. Little Mermaid, a Hawaii for Little Mermaid.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And if you knew where you were going, then
Yeah.
no one would bother you. But especially if it was your first time, you could just say, "Hey, I picked up this shift at this location. What do I need?" And they would just look it up. They're like, "Okay," and then they would take you to the spot and exactly what you would need versus male, female, or which one you wanted to wear. Which I really appreciate. Disney was really cool with, even if whether it's because you were trans or anything, what was happening is you didn't necessarily have to wear the costume of, I could go in and say, oh yeah, but I want the female one. And then be like, okay. And they just gave it to you. And then depending on what your hours were, they could give you a few, they could give you one. Yeah.
I remember as well when I don't know if you did that, George, but like because it's basically you get those shifts online. There was a
Yeah.
hub online that you can search for those shifts, and you just click on the park. So you click on like Animal Kingdom, and then it shows and the day that you want. You just like apply filters. So if you're off tomorrow, it can just be like, oh, tomorrow date, park, and then you give you the shifts, and then it tells it the time the shifts are available. So when you click on the shift and you accept it, there's a paper that appears, like a page with the location and also the
Yeah.
costume you have to wear. So with that paper, you can actually print it if you want, or take a photo. But you can bring with you to the costume warehouse and then just collect the exact same costume. Well, as George said, like if it was your first time, like you have to ask for help because it's huge. And then yeah, but usually the clothes they have every piece of clothes because they go from like shoes and even belts as well. And
Belts,
yeah,
hats.
hats, everything. And then
Yeah.
they all have barcodes. So when you go through,
That's right.
so you pick your stuff, and there is a person there, like a cashier, as a supermarket, and then they scan your clothes, and then they know that that piece of shirt belongs to you.
Well, I'll actually add to that. Now they got fancy.
Mm,
Now every costuming has what looks like a giant metal detector,
mm.
and you wave your cast ID in front so it detects you, and then all you do is hold the stuff,
Oh, that's
and then
perfect.
you walk through it, and then you see a screen
Yeah,
that just comes up. You have this,
yeah.
and it just detects what you have on your account.
Wow.
In my time, though, we were able to have just like 3 sets of costume, but then sometimes you wouldn't be able to like wash them because you would wash in your condo, your complex. But and then I know you guys experienced that, but like sometimes the sizes of the uniforms they were not accurate.
Yeah.
So, you go and pick like, I don't know, a 32 waist trouser and you pick three, but then one will be too small, one to be too tight, one will be too big. So at least with me for Main Street, I had to try like different colors until find three that would fit perfectly because some of them are like really wide or the shirts, if they were like size large, sometimes it would be like too tight, even though they were large, some of them would be like too big. So yeah, it wasn't a huge problem, but you had to be spending your time because there are fitting rooms there as well for you to try it on. Jackson, like since you asked, and yeah, but they are fancy
Yeah,
now. If you just have to go through the metal detectors, that's great.
yeah. And it was nice. I don't know if well, merchandise. I'm not sure if you would know this, but I know they did it for food and beverage. Who got it? Food and beverage, housekeeping, and there's one other area I'm forgetting. Food and beverage, housekeeping, and one other area where they would give you work shoes, and they were
Right.
yours. They were yours to keep, and you got a new pair every 6 months.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was very nice when you got to that.
Yeah.
As much as the nerd in me would just love to drill questions about how like Disney does this kind of thing because I'm very curious about it. I want to hear more from everyone else, and so I wanted to bring it back around. And I think what I want to do is kind of open it up to what you guys want to share from your time at Disney. We could obviously take a more structured route, but I think everyone probably has a story or two that they would just love to share and that they probably thought of when we did preparation for this episode. And so I just want to kind of give the floor back to you guys and say like what's your story that you want to share? A good one, a spooky one, a bad one, a great one, a magical one. We want to hear all of them. So I want to give it back to Rachel and kind of if she had a story and then we can just kind of go back around and then we can kind of pick at the little inner workings of Disney cast memberness as we go, if that works for everyone. But I'll give it back to Rachel.
It's a good word.
A story that I'd like to share is we used to have targets working in merchandise, but it was how many magical moments you could create for a guest per shift. So, for example, it could be a child wanted to meet Winnie the Pooh and all the characters from 100 Acre Woods. So, at the back of the UK pavilion is the break trailer where all Winnie the Pooh and his friends from 100 Acre Woods would reside, be, work, play, without spoiling the magic. So one of my best friends out there was best friends with Winnie the Pooh. So we could create experiences and kind of run into their brake trailer and say, hey, Pooh Bear, Eeyore, Piglet, etc. We need these signatures. Can you do this name? Can you write on a magical moment certificate? So if we wanted to give a child or an adult, anybody, no discrimination, we wanted to create a magical moment, we could get the characters to write on there and put messages on, which was great. And then back in the day, this stopped, I think, at COVID. But if you bought anything from Disney or in any of the parks, and you were staying in a Disney resort hotel, you could have your package. So you were walking around carrying your bags all day. You could actually get what you'd purchased sent back to your resort hotel, so you could pick it up from the gift shop. Or in some instances, we could have it actually sent to the guest room, because we would have their room number on the information sheet that we completed. So I can remember in terms of like a guest service recovery, something had happened and child was really, really upset, and the parents had purchased like different characters from the UK Pavilion. So instead of getting the package sent to the gift shop, which was generic, we asked if somebody could nip the characters up to the room. And actually what happened was, that cast member who did this, I would be eternally grateful, because what they did is put all the characters in front of the TV with the remote control in the characters' hands. So when they got in tired after a park day, the characters that they'd purchased was sat watching TV, or they would put them in bed, waiting for them to come home, or write little messages. That's like really, really magical and extra. And to be able, as a cast member, to create that for a customer and a child, and keep the magic going and create wow moments is pretty special, to be fair, because not only were you creating those moments for guests, but the feel-good factor about that was next level. So absolutely one of the things that I used to love doing as a cast member in the UK Pavilion.
One of my memories is cast nights at Pleasure Island, back when that was a thing, and cast nights at Jelly Rolls when Jelly Rolls was there.
Oh, Jelly Rolls.
We could get, I think we got him for free, didn't we? I think those 2 nights, and just amazing nights, just full of cast. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people were too. I'm trying to think, because we had a lot of kind of people that were too young to drink. Could they couldn't go to Pleasure Island, could they? Or could they? Did they go and not drink? Or
I mean, I was a kid during Pleasure Island. I'm sorry, Dean, but I but I do remember going to it, and I remember because my mom would explain it. They had turnstiles on on the parking lot side, and then again on the side that led you into downtown Disney, and you couldn't get past. During the day, you could walk through there; it was all open because none of the bars or clubs were open. But at night, yeah, they would stop you. They would ID people at that point. So yeah, no, you couldn't. If you, I don't. Maybe you could be 18, but I'm not that. Yeah, that's a good question.
yeah,
That's a good.
Remember.
Arthur, what kind of story do you have for us? What would you love to share?
I have 2 good ones. The first one was there was a celebrity who closed Magic Kingdom after the park was closed, right? And I didn't know that was a thing until they told us that like the celebrity they can't, like, let's say the park closes at like midnight, and then all the guys leave, and then the park would reopen at 2 o'clock in the morning for that celebrity.
Huh.
And then it works normally. It works fireworks normally, parades, as if it's like 9 in the morning, right? Everything works exactly the same. And then during training, you guys know that we could not treat celebrities any different.
Yeah.
we could not say, "Oh my God, you are such and such." It could be just like the same treatment for everybody. And yeah, so back then, and I don't know if you guys had that, but like we had landlines in our apartments. I don't think it's a thing now because there's Wi-Fi and everything, but we had landlines. So I got this call in the morning, and then it was one of my managers and said, "Hi Arthur, so your shift finishes at like midnight. Do you mind staying over because we have a celebrity close in the park?" And I was like, I didn't get it, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." He was like, "Are you sure?" He was like, "Yeah, okay, cool, because like we cannot let the boat sink." And I was like, "Okay, so the boat sink, Celine Dion, Titanic." Celine
Clever.
Dion closed the park, like for her and her family and her band and dancers, and we could not take photos with her or anything. It's like it was like a normal day at 2 in the morning, and then the park we opened. I don't think nowadays exists, but like before, back then there was like in that train station, Magic Kingdom, Mickey, meaning all the characters would come on a train, and Mickey would give the key of Magic Kingdom by
That's
the
right.
mayor. There was a whole show before the gate opened. So it happened the same thing at 2 in the morning. Mickey came, opened, gave the gate, as if the park was reopening. And then people with balloons in Main Street selling balloons, merch, sweets, candies, everything. And we had the parade, everything. There was probably like 50 people, like in total. And then basically the park was like, a ghost town. When they were in other land, all the lands were all empty, right? And they had the fireworks at like 5 in the morning again. And then some of the guests stay in the hotels nearby, they could see it, the fireworks, because sometimes they pay for, a castle view from
Right.
the hotel, but like there's no fireworks at like 5 in the morning unless there's a celebrity there. So the next morning, people were like, and it was fun. We could see her there enjoying Disney, but we could not go and take photos or anything. But it was fun. Like the next day, some of the guests they were staying on those hotels near Magic Kingdom. They were like, "Oh, that was so magical last night. We were just like woke up to go to the bathroom. And there was like fireworks in the castle. How magical!" And we were like, "Yeah." But like,
Just for you.
little did they know that was Celine Dion was there. That was fun, and I think there was a tragic one, not tragic, but like a bit funny. So they had this parade in the afternoon called the 3 o'clock parade, and some people would call it Dreams Come True parade, but it was 3 o'clock parade at 3 o'clock. And one of the floats, they had all the princesses and prince there. So we had Little Mermaid, Snow White, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast. And as you know, in Beauty and the Beast, in the end, when the Beast is about to die, hits on the ground, and Belle is kind of like, "Oh, don't die, please, don't die," right? So it was kind of humid in January. It wasn't extremely hot, but it was humid and uncomfortable a little bit. It had rain, all the kind of stuff, and then there comes the float with all the princesses and stuff. But the Beast was dying. He was on the floor, and Belle was kind of like, oh no, like kind of like acting as if it was part of the float. But we all knew there was something going on with that person. I know if I
Good
could break
piece.
the magic here, that but like that happened, and the parade had to go like really fast. It usually takes 15 minutes, 20. It went like 5 minutes, really quick. You went around the castle, laughed, but they didn't bring the character. Like they were there, like
The
giving
show must
all
go on.
show must go on. I just found like I don't know. It was, and people were like in the store because we were in all those main street stores. We could see the parade coming, and then all the managers were like, the beast.
They were
And
professionals.
they were professionals, yeah. But it was, I think, was the first thing that happened to me when I was working there. That's something that would kind of like break the magic for me, like in a way. But it did, like it broke, but it didn't at the same time. And yeah,
Can I just interject? So Arthur saw Celine in the park. Who did you guys see? I can remember walking backstage at the UK Pavilion, and there was somebody coming along with about 20 bodyguards all around her, and it was Mariah Carey just
Oh
hmm
wow.
coming by. And I went back to the lunchroom at Epcot, and Tim McGraw and Faith Hill walking through the door, just coming into the park. Just random things like that that you expect. And you've got to be so cool. And as much as you're fangirling, fanboying inside, you can't do that, which is a bit frustrating. Did you guys see anybody else?
Oh yeah.
I got to see again, kind of similar from afar, kind of close. And he was always notorious because he to wear like a black solid baseball cap to try to be inconspicuous. Little of the was Chris Evans.
Cool.
And he was he loved Disney World actually. He was a regular for the most part. But yeah, he was someone who was lovely. He'd interact with people, and sometimes he would even ask them, which they did say that was okay if the celebrity started it. Like he'd ask them if they wanted a picture or something like that, which was fine if they asked. But of course, you couldn't ever ask. Yeah.
I saw, actually he came to my counter, Hugh Jackman, and it was the time that he was
Ooh.
Wolverine and all that kind of stuff. Like him, and I think he has a daughter or something, and then you just have
think
to
so.
like act like really cool because it's just like he just got in front of you. And yeah, who else? Oh, there was a commercial that it was on Disney Channel before, and it's like all those people, Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, Jonas Brothers, and they're all in Magic Kingdom, but they are singing from the roof of the stores in Main Street. I was trying to find this video on YouTube, but I could never find it. And it's basically like all of them singing on the top of on the ceiling of the stores, and then there's all these people singing on Main Street, but everybody on Main Street was all cast members because it was shot before the park were open. You know, like the park will open at 8, and then they start shooting like 6 in the morning, and then there's everybody makeup done, everything, all the guests, like not guests as if it's guests, but everybody was cast members, and they were shooting the commercial there for Disney Channel, and I got to see them as well. Yeah, I think that's what the ones. Yeah.
What celebrities did we see on shift? Actually, we saw quite a few celebrities, although it was very strict and we couldn't engage with them unless they engaged with us. So I can remember seeing through the gates between the Toy Soldier and Crown and Crest in the UK pavilion, I let in there Usher and his family. Also, this is bittersweet now because it's sad. Also, Christopher Reeve, and he was in his chair. But one that I was so mortified that I missed, I was actually on my day off, was Michael Jackson came with his family and he watched the fireworks next in the UK pavilion next to the Harry Ramsay's fish and chip shop. Just to the right hand side there's like a meal sit down area that you could, and he watched it from there. So he came in and out the entrance of the UK pavilion, and I was absolutely devastated. I would have loved to have seen him, but everyone was so polite, and we would greet them and say, "Good evening, sir. Good evening, have a magical day. Have a magical evening. Have a good night. Thank you for coming." So yeah, celebrities galore.
They talking about backstage and things. They were quite quick at getting rid of people, terminating. I think for the most smallest things. I knew people in my time where where it was just like crazy, and some of them were set up just to do things that maybe they shouldn't have done, but they were like set up to be terminated.
In my time as well, there's so many people. Every week we would hear that. I think because people were like, they thought, I don't know, that like, oh, like they say you can be terminated, but like they wouldn't do that, and they would. You know, especially for like there was this person working actually in the same store as me, and then they were like filming and taking photos on backstage, and you know, it's not, yeah. I like on backstage I would, you know, and back then phones, they didn't have like great cameras like 16 years ago, but I would not even like take the phone out of my pocket in case someone thought that I was taking up. I was so afraid of breaking the rules and everything that was like, you know.
they would tell us in security and to tell other cast members, like, listen, just to, because actually I got a story for you. By the way, there's cameras everywhere, and yeah, they can see everything. Um, and just to kind of save face, to not misunderstand anything, even if you were going into work and you were on that bus and you got into the utilidors, just and you were talking to someone or on FaceTime, just put it in your pocket. You can keep talking to them if you can get service, but just so it didn't look like you were taking pictures by holding your phone up by talking to someone, or someone could misunderstand something. Um, but even then, they would say, because technically the other person on the other line could start taking screenshots, and they didn't want you to do that. Yeah. So, um, but yeah, most of my stories, which makes sense, I guess, are around like working in security because that was very interesting. Um, whether it's things people try to bring in, um, or I got asked a lot, if those rides when they go down, is it really that they're going down or what's happening? Um, and from my experience on the security side, especially the dark rides, if it was a dark ride, it was a solid chance that one of two things was happening. Either someone tried to get out, that's usually what, like in this small world, pirates, or how do I keep it PG on a podcast? People were doing things that maybe you shouldn't be because they didn't think anyone could see, and they didn't realize that all those cameras are night vision.
Hmm.
Um, so that actually happened, interestingly, a lot more than people realize. Uh, yeah. So that was usually the reason a ride would stop. Um, and then sometimes, eventually, if the people didn't get the clue of the ride was stopping because of them, that's when they would turn the lights on, to grab their attention.
Yeah.
And that usually worked at that point. Um, but yeah. Um, what other cool story? I touched on it earlier. I think one of the coolest memories I have was being at Magic Kingdom and no one was there. I mean, there was the occasional worker. This was like 1 or 2 in the morning. The park had been closed already a couple hours. Um, and of that, walking into Adventureland, the music was still playing. You could still hear the noises of the animals in like Jungle Cruise and different, but there was nobody. So like the lights were kind of flickering like they do in Adventure Land, where they're like little flames. You heard like the eerie, cool Adventureland music and the animals. It was super foggy because there was actually a lot of smoke machines in Adventure World or Adventureland, but you don't often see it because there's so many people walking through. Um, but yeah, just that kind of eerie in a very cool way, silence, and being able to just walk through the park at night. That was a very cool experience, I think.
That happened to me as well because when I was doing shift on the stroller um, department, like people can rent strollers and those ECVs around the
Yeah,
park,
yeah.
and then sometimes like when people wouldn't return because they
Oh,
have
you
to,
got to go get them.
like there was a shop underneath the train station, Magic Kingdom, and you have to get the strollers from there and return it there as well. But some of the guests, they would not return, and then you would find like wheelchairs, wheelchairs, UCVs, and strollers around the park. So when the park was closed actually, and then we had all these people we call like in the hub, which is like the Disney World statue there, and then you have to go in all the lands and collect the strollers and wheelchairs and ECVs that were just left there. And then it's cool because you just like walk on all those lands, but the music's still playing, you see the rides, but there's nobody there. You're just collecting strollers and things. It's just like you're just carrying weight, but you're just like, oh my god, this is so cool because I'm just like walking around the lands and just like, yeah, that's cool.
And that reminded me, about Main Street in specific, because like I mentioned, there's cameras everywhere, and they can zoom in to what you're holding and see what you're holding. Uh, and without giving too much detail, I was allowed at one point. I was talking to a manager to go into the room, and they have a wall of screens, and they can control any of them. and they can turn on a dime and go into every angle. And they were looking for someone who allegedly had taken something, um, and they were zooming into everybody's hands to see.
Yeah.
And actually, a buddy of mine who still works there, and I really wanted to do this position. This was a very hard to get position. I don't know if you guys know, but the security does have plainclothes officers
Mhm.
in all the parks.
Yeah.
And they look like, well, some of them I can tag who they are because they're like inconspicuous without being that inconspicuous. Um, but yeah, they're supposed to look more like tourists, but they just follow people if they think there's something going on, or they'll report people who are drunk or getting into fights, or there might be an issue. But yeah, those are interesting jobs.
I'm learning. So this is really cool. Like I'm really enjoying this. This is a really neat one.
If you can, if somebody's got like an ice cream down their t-shirt, or one of the kids is like playing up, you can like go out and you can gift things, which I think is really, really nice. I think you had to fill in a form after, didn't you, or something, for where it was going or whatever. Because I can remember there was a little kid crying their eyes out because they missed meeting Winnie the Pooh in the UK Pavilion. So I just took out a flush Winnie the Pooh and gave it over and kind of got and things. And they encourage you to do things like that, just to keep the magic.
I think there was one time that this little girl, because I don't know you guys, maybe it was, but at least in Magic Kingdom, we like every time we go out and go to your shift, you could you have this the pins to trade, but that you could also get like pixie dust, which is basically like all this confetti in the shape of a Mickey Mouse head, right? And they're kind of like vinyl material, not paper. And we have all this pixie dust on our pockets just to like throw on top of the kids and all that kind of stuff. And there was this one little girl. I think she was like maybe two and a half, and then she was holding a Tinkerbell doll, and then her mom was holding her. She was in her mom's arms, and then they were buying something there, and then the mom, in the parks you can get those like bottoms of like I'm celebrating something, of like family reunion for free, or happy birthday, and just put on your shirt. And then I don't know if the girl noticed that she had one, but she had one here with like happy birthday Emily. But I don't know if she noticed that her mom put it there, and then she was holding a Tinkerbell doll, and yeah, scanned the product, put in the bag, and then I said, "Happy birthday, Emily!" And then she looked at me like, "How does he know that's my birthday?" And then she was like, "How do you know it's my birthday?" And I said, This lady was like, "Tinkerbell told me," and then she was like starstruck. I was like, "How the hell this man know it's my birthday?" It's a kid, you know what I mean? And I got the pixie dust to throw all over her face, her head, and then her mom, like the parents, they cry over everything when you please their kids, and rightly so. And then she was like, and then you just feel like the best person in the world, like to do that, just make a kid happy. And yeah, there's
Yeah.
lots of moments that happen, but I think that the one that I remember the most was like this one with this little kid.
The one I remember, which they all have a happy ending, but a little girl was lost, and I can tell you why most kids don't stay lost very long. But she in particular, maybe like 5 or 6 years old, little Asian girl, and she came, we were actually at TTC at the where they have the entrance for the metal detectors and people going through. And she came up to actually me, and I was a security foreman, and then one of my officers was next to me, and she kind of, you could tell she had been crying, but in a very like mature voice, also for a 5-year-old, said, I'm lost. And we're like, okay, and as I kneeled down and about to like ask for her name, and then without missing a beat, she said, "I'm lost, and both my dads are white men." And I go, okay. And then a few of us were around kind of started laughing at that, like, that's good description. And then she started describing what they looked like, and within like a minute or two, I stood up, grabbed her hand, hadn't even walked a few steps, and then these two guys came rushing over, and very like clearly upset, and realized they had found her, and and then we go, just because of the way she described them, and just immediately went off. They're two white men. I was like, did you tell her to say that if anything happened? And they said, well, yeah, because what happened was they were at a different park. Wasn't Universal, but it was somewhere else outside Disney, and she had gotten lost. And when they found her, at first security didn't believe that she belonged to them, because she was a little Asian girl, so they were looking for Asian parents, let alone two white men. And so they had to tell her, hey, when you're lost again, tell them your daddies are white. So it was really cute, the whole thing, and it was a happy ending. So that really stuck out in my mind, because she was very sweet about it and concerned, but just matter of fact. My daddies are white men. Oh, okay. And it was cute.
That was a really cute scene to picture as you described it. Just this little girl and this like very specific description. And I was like, oh, it's
Right.
because she's been lost before. And then that makes so much sense. Whatever your parents tell you to say, you say it. You're like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna say. Two white men. It makes perfect sense. So yeah, I clearly haven't worked there, but I will pitch in here with my extra magic moment that I still think about like every week. I was at Disney World, and I love taking pictures. Everyone who knows the podcast knows that's my thing. And I think his name was Andrew or Anthony. It was one of those two. I still have a picture of him, because I was taking pictures on Tower of Terror, and we just happened to be the last in line. It just worked out that way. And so I was taking pictures and kind of letting people go past, and he was like, "Hey, you're the last one. Do you want to walk around the lobby, like past the ropes and take pictures?" And I was like, duh, because I was like this teenager, and it's my favorite attraction. And so I was like,
Yeah,
yes.
sure. Yeah.
And so I walked around, and they were just like, oh yeah, take as many as you want. Like, we still have a long time before closing. And then we got a ride the last time with the bellhops, and so there was like three of them in our car. And then we bought that picture and framed it, and I still have it somewhere, because it's just they all have their hats up, and I'm like, like so ecstatic, and my parents are stoked because they made their kid happy, and so we like that was a really fun day. But that's like my favorite extra magic thing. There's been lots of other little ones like resort perks and stuff like that, but like that thing, it really like these little things. Even when you tell the stories, like, oh, it's just like this little thing that I did. I let this kid take pictures in the lobby, like not a big deal, but for them and for me and for the people you're making the magic for, it's so life changing. It's this moment that they've dreamt of. They gotta go past the ropes. It's just so cool. And so having been that person, and I'm sure all of you have experienced similar things on both ends of being, having it made for you and also making it for someone else. It's just awesome. It's such a special thing to do. So yeah, thanks for sharing your awesome stories. That's just so cool. And I love hearing that Disney wants you to do those things. That brings me a lot of joy, that they're like, yeah, go give them the Winnie the Pooh and stuff like that, because I just think that's special and good. That's good that they do that. So
And I know you guys, but it comes so natural. Like, I don't think we are looking to give any magical moment. I think it just happens the right time. At least with me, I don't think we are searching for an opportunity to give a magical moment. I think it just happens. I think that's why it's so magical. Like, even for us as well, who that gives that special moment as well. Because you see an opportunity and it just happens. I think it's so beautiful.
It's almost fun to
Yeah,
when it
yeah,
clicks, you're like, oh, I can do it here.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it's just cool. I know one when I was in food and beverage at Epcot in the eatery. I don't know if you guys, obviously, you guys have gone in the last few years, but they have that big window on one side where they make the pizza, and then they have another big giant window where that big mural is, where they make desserts and stuff. Well, I was on the dessert side, and they actually have a little thing that if you feel up to it, you can find. They usually try to ask if you can find like an only child because they don't want to make the other one jealous. There you go. And if you could find an only child, ideal, because then you can take them behind there and basically make a little dessert with them, some kind of waffle dessert, and give them an opportunity. They can wear a little
That's
chef's hat. It's like a whole
rad.
thing.
That sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
it's very cute. Yeah, so that's fun to do. That is fun to do.
I wish I got to do that. That sounds fantastic. It's one perk of only child life right there. I remember one time my mom took me to get a haircut at the Bibby Bobbity boutique or whatever,
Oh yeah.
and she was like, "You
Or
just
no,
have to try."
at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique or
Yeah.
the OG one on Main Street
Oh no, the Main
that
Street
they
one.
used
It
to
was the
do
Main Street
shave.
one. Yeah,
The Main Street
that
one.
one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
And
remember that
and
one.
she they finished my haircut, gray haircut, and they'd finished it, and she came over to me. She was like, "You should ask for pixie dust." And I said, I don't know if I'm gonna do that, Mom. Like I'm getting, because I was like too cool for it. You know, I was like 16, and I was like, pixie dust. Like I'm too cool for that. I asked for it, and the guy like gave me a little look, and he was like, okay, and he did it, and there's still pictures of me at Disney World with the pixie dust in my hair. It was fun. I would do it again. I would 100% do it, but it was a good time. So before we kind of wrap this episode up, I have two more questions I want to ask everybody. One is what did you learn the most from your experience at Disney? Or what's something that you took away that you kind of use every day? And then the other question I was going to ask is, what would you tell the people who do want to work for Disney? What's your advice and your cautions and everything else? We've heard a little bit of both throughout the episode, but I just wanted to directly address it, and then we can, I don't know, we can see where we are there. But yeah, so I'll reach it out back to Rachel. What's something you learned or something you loved?
So what did I learn the most about working at Walt Disney World? The obvious is learned about different cultures, living in another country, because although with America we speak the same language, it is two very different cultures, very different countries with customs and traditions. So that was really cool. Also living with people of me in an 8-person apartment, so 7 different nationalities. I learned all about China, Japan, Mexico, Norway, Germany, Canada. Wow. And they are literally my friends for life. We're still in touch to this day, which is amazing. But mostly I learned so much about myself, patience, tolerance levels, truly understanding people and emotions, empathy. Yeah, something that I would never ever forget. And yeah, I would say it was about myself, the things that I learned the most. And also coping with different personalities and professionalism. So yeah, they're the things that I learned the most. What advice would I give somebody who was considering working at Walt Disney World? Absolutely do it. I would do it again in a heartbeat if I could. And it's to have that on your CV, to work for the world's #1 tourist destination, the world's #1 entertainment conglomerate. It's something else and next level, and it's quite prestigious to be able to say that you've done that. Yes, initially it's quite daunting, thinking how long you'll be leaving your friends and family for, but the flip side is the friends that you make will become your family, and if you didn't do it, it's something that you would forever regret. Out of so many people that was there the same time as myself, I can only remember a couple of people that went home because they were homesick. Everybody stayed because everybody were having the time of their lives. Road tripping, tours, concerts, going to the coast, watching launches. You could actually see the launches from Epcot, from the UK pavilion, to be fair, when the space shuttle was going up at night time, because you could see the tail of the shuttle, which was great. But it is amazing. Everybody makes you feel so welcome. Your managers out there make you feel so welcome. And they're a little bit of everything for your manager. They're your shoulder to cry on. They literally amazing, and a massively bunch of inspiring people, which is great. But if you are deciding to do it, now you can choose your length of a contract. So absolutely, please do it. Please apply if it's a consideration. Because we can do this day-to-day life forever. Go and do something different. Go and be inspired. Go and inspire other people. Learn something new. Go and see and live in a different part of the world, but work for the best company on earth. So there you go. Yeah, what's not to love?
Yeah, I would second that. Just do it if you have an opportunity or even a chance. Go for it, because whether you want to stick there for life, which working for any of the parks, Walt Disney World, Disneyland, is a great career. And even if it's just temporary, it looks great on a resume, and it's a great experience, especially in terms of just learning customer service, and just getting that Disney way, which is a thing that even other companies tend to use. Yeah, friends for life to Second Rachel, and just a really cool experience overall.
Yeah, for me as well. I think at the end of the day, it's all about the people that you meet and experience. I think meeting people all over the world, because like I went there expecting a job, and I left a job at Disney, and I left with like friendships and experience that shaped my life and who I am. I went to Disney last time in January this year, and I met people who worked with me 16 years ago, like there, and just like, it's just that experience that you shared together years ago, and no one can understand, but only you can understand. And then, like for the rest of your life, you just have that. And I think, like Disney taught me so much about like, the storytelling, and like the every detail contributes to the audience. And I think to apply that to my day job is just so important. I think every day someone reminds me that I work for Disney, or something happened that brings in the memories. And I think I got loads of jobs after Disney just to have Disney on my CV,
Yeah.
because I went to an interview before, and then the the interviewer was a really Disney fan, and then I think I just spoke about Disney in my job there, like my task there. So it's good to have the TV as well, but I don't think it's the main thing. I think it's just a consequence. I think it's just like, if you want to experience something that I don't think you're never gonna experience in any other company in the world, I think you should just go to Disney and work there, because it's a hard work, as we said in the beginning of the podcast.
It is.
It's not all fairy tales and pixie dust, but it's so worth it. Like you just learn so much, and you just working with people from different cultures, and then you're dealing with guests from different cultures who don't speak the same language as you, and you have to find a way to manage that at Disney, which makes everything so more special. And yeah.
And then, of course, we're forgetting, as Disney fans working at Disney, of course, you get those main gate passes, and you get to visit the parks when you want, and the great discounts. And of course, cast connections, which every cast member knows. I don't know if Jackson, if you've heard of cast connections.
Is it that
You know,
store? Is it that place you can go shop? And you have to be a
as
cast
a
member
cast
to
member
shop there.
only.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which
You can
is
be
worth
with a
it
cast
for
member
me.
too.
Oh, dude.
100%. Yeah. And what's cool, I know when I worked there, they had this. So I don't know if they had this back when you guys did. Cast Connections obviously has all the stuff that just left the parks at like crazy discounts, but they also have a grocery section that has basically all the a lot of the hotels will on purpose they will purchase more than they need just in case, and any of the excess before it goes bad they will send to Cast Connections so cast members can just buy crazy bulk items at a discount rate.
Yeah.
See, this is really interesting because for me, I've like besides Dean, I've never really talked to cast members in depth before, especially about their job. And I've seen a lot of stuff online about like negative things about being a cast member. And of course there is, and I know
Yeah.
that those things are real and they need to be fixed and stuff, but I'm really glad to hear that there's really great parts of it too, and that it is awesome. And I've actually really enjoyed talking with you guys and just listening to you because it's been kind of uplifting and awesome. And I would say like, you know, I love that you guys took so much and loved it so much. Dean talks about his as well, and while he's got some crazy stories that he's told us, he's also always spoke of it very fondly, which I love, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful that he shares those cool stories with us. Um,
I mean, it's like any other job where you can have an awesome manager and who makes it fantastic, and then you could have a not so awesome manager that makes it miserable, and that's on the individual. But I would definitely say, as a company overall, it is a really good place to work.
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. I think something too that something I do when I go on my trips is I really work hard to be the nicest person ever to every cast member I see because I know they love their jobs, but it's also hot and humid and people have probably yelled at them that day and they've dealt with so many things. And so I try to say thank you to every single one of them and I'm always polite even if they're like, "Oh, we have to do this line thing or the ride broke or let me see inside your backpack." I'm like, "Yeah, of course. Like whatever. Do your whole thing. I'm so here for it." Like
Yeah,
I'm here for this. And so I think just as a general takeaway as an audience, those who listening to this episode, like treat the cast members like they treat you, you know, like really try to
please
just
do.
um, thank them and be so appreciative and just be there for them too because they, you know, this is their job and it is their job to be nice and take care of you, but it's also something that they're trying to put their heart into. And so if you can be nice, that's going to make their life so much easier, you know.
Very, very, and especially those because yeah, and every cast member at every walk a lot, every angle get it. But for some reason, I remember in security, especially,
Yeah.
got all the negative because we were holding them up or they
Yeah.
had reservations in 10 minutes and they're at TTC and they have to go all the way. I'm like, well, that's not my fault. You decided to show up 20 minutes before, but yeah, especially the security, they're doing a job, and all
Hmm.
the cast members, they're there to, in security's case, quite literally protect you.
Hmm.
Um, and we can save that for another show, but I could tell you all the kinds of weapons that would have gone through if not for security. Um, that because freedom, and everyone thinks they can bring it in,
Right.
but they can't.
Right. And we appreciate it. We like that the Disney parks are a safe place. It's very good. Well, I think we're definitely going to need a part two of this episode. We could keep going for hours and hours and hours here, but we're so grateful that you guys came on and shared your amazing, wonderful stories. Thank you so much, Arthur and Rachel and George and Dean. Always thank you for sharing your stories and being here. And you're awesome, and we just appreciate you all so much and for making magic for us and for continuing to do so as you share your awesome stories. But we look forward to having you again. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching Diz Debate, and thank you so much for tuning in with us and talking with us. And until next time, we'll see you. We'll see you later. Bye bye now.